Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a recipe on how I make my stuffed pacayas. So let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. So first what you want to start off is with a pot of water. Just go ahead and let that sit on high and let it come to a boil. Okay then, so you're going to want to go ahead and get a can of pacayas, and this is how it looks. Okay, so here what I have is I have the pacayas in this container. I've already went ahead and rinsed them, and once your water is boiling just like that, you're gonna want to just go ahead and start putting them in there and just put them one by one. Alright guys, so let's just go ahead and start making the filling for the pacayas. You're gonna need some queso fresco, whole milk, and you're also going to need some mozzarella shredded cheese, and you're going to need some diced red onions and diced tomatoes. All right, so the next thing, once you have your queso fresco crumbled up just like this, if you can't do it with your hands, go ahead and use a fork, and that's what I used, and it helps a lot better. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding my mozzarella shredded cheese into that. And I'm not gonna use all of it. I'm just gonna use just enough because when it melts, it's gonna help keep everything together. And I'm gonna go ahead and also add my red diced onions. And then I'm also gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be adding my tomatoes in there as well, just to give it some color. So once you add your filling, you're just going to go ahead and take that same fork that you used to crumble the queso fresco, and you're just going to go ahead and mix it. Make sure you mix it very well so it can get every pacaya can have a piece of tomato, onion, shredded cheese, and the queso fresco. So you're going to keep mixing it very well. Alright, so once you're done with that, the pacaya should be good to take out of the boiling water, and just go ahead and put it in a plate or whatever's good that you have and let it cool. Alright you guys, so as you guys see here, I've already stuffed most of the pacayas because they are time consuming, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I stuff these. So once the pacayas are cool, you're going to go ahead and just pull those strings to the side so you can find a spot where you're going to just slice it in the middle, and you start from the top to the bottom, and you just go ahead and you're gonna, once you slice it, you're gonna kind of like want to pull it open, and then you're gonna grab some of the filling with your hand. And I'm trying to do it here with one hand while I'm facing my camera to show you guys how. You're gonna give it that little squeeze. When you squeeze it, it's gonna help hold everything together, and it's gonna be a lot easier for you to place it into the pacaya. And there's not much space where you can fit this, but now that you have the filling in there, I'm gonna go ahead and just use those strings or whatever you call them. You're gonna just use them as a cover. I'm trying to smash it down, press it down very slowly, and trying to cover it. So yeah, and just keep stuffing it, giving it a squeeze. It's gonna hold together. Once it's done, this is how it's gonna look once they're stuffed. So you're gonna need some egg whites and flour. So you're gonna need a pan with some oil, and you're gonna let that heat up. While that's heating up, you're gonna go ahead and mix the egg whites together just until it becomes very fluffy and foamy. You're just gonna go ahead and blend that together. Alright, so once you've already done that, you're gonna go ahead and roll your stuffed pacayas into the flour and into the egg white batter. And then you're gonna go ahead and put it in your hot oil, and as you're cooking them, this is how they should look, nice golden brown. And just make sure you keep your eye on it, but you also don't want it to burn. All right, so now that they're done, I went ahead and I put some napkins and I took them out, and that's how they look. Very nice and golden brown. And I got two more left on the stove, but this is how they should look at the end once they're done. All right, to make the juice for the pacayas, you're gonna start off with a pot of water again. Leave it on the stove, let it come to a boil, and then you're gonna need caldo de pollo. It's just the chicken flavor bouillon, and then you're gonna need the maicena, which is cornstarch. It's gonna help thicken up the soup or the juice, I should say. And then you're gonna need some paprika, some water, a fork, and a bowl. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. All right, so here I already have the cornstarch and the paprika. I'm just gonna go ahead and pour the water, and I'm gonna start mixing it with the fork. So you're just gonna keep mixing it, make sure there's no lumps or any, it's not stuck to the bottom of the bowl. So you're just gonna keep mixing it very well. All right, so now going to the pot of water, you're gonna add the caldo de pollo, which like I said is the chicken bouillon, and you're gonna go ahead and add that to the water, and you're gonna be mixing it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and taste it, make sure the flavor is there, and if it's not, you can just keep adding as you're tasting to the way you like it. So as you see, I just went ahead and added a little bit more, and I'm gonna go ahead and just whisk it so that way the powder can dissolve and mix very well. All right, so I'm gonna just go ahead and let it sit for a couple of minutes to boil a little. And then what I'm gonna go ahead and do next is I'm adding the mixture that I showed you guys to do to help thicken up the juice and to give it the color. You're gonna keep whisking as you're adding, because if you don't do that, what's gonna happen is if you pour it into the hot water, it's just gonna get very clumpy, and you don't want that. So you just, as you're adding the paprika and the cornstarch, you're gonna mix at the same time and make sure you whisk away. All right, now that I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and start adding my pacayas one by one into the pot. And as you guys can notice, I do have some other stuff in there. I made some chile relleno, so keep an eye out for that recipe. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link down below on how to make the chile rellenos. And I'm just gonna go ahead and, as you see, I start adding the juice over it. And then I'm gonna let it just sit to boil up a little bit for like a couple of minutes, just to help thicken up the juice a little. All right, so this is the way it looks once it's done. I went ahead and I made some rice, so I do have one stuffed pacaya and one chile relleno. This is how we like to eat it. So that is the way I like to make my stuffed pacaya. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.